Europe is a vast continent full of diverse people hailing from over 40 different countries. Talk about Germany, Austria, Poland, Hungary, France, Italy, and Romania, among others. Interestingly, the physical characteristics of the Europeans tend to be a little different from some races found across the globe. So where do these people come from? Surprisingly, there's no such thing as a pure European. Europeans are the result of many mixed migrations over thousands of years. Whether viewed through a biblical or scientific lens, the surprising origins of Europeans will leave you speechless. Before we dive into the sacred scriptures, do you know that researchers recently made a shocking revelation about human migration? They uncovered the origins of the Europeans by analyzing the DNA tests of bones found in ancient burial mounds and unmarked graves. The findings reveal that the first Europeans came out of Africa, making their way through the Middle East and arriving about 43,000 years ago. And yes, many Europeans are of African descent. But how about the difference in skin color? Hold on a bit, you'll get an answer to that shortly. However, it is important to note that some of these early settlers, like a 40,000-year-old individual discovered in Romania, have little connection to today's Europeans. Some Romanians migrated from another part of the world. From the DNA of 51 Europeans and Asians who lived 7,000 to 45,000 years ago, researchers found that the majority of the DNA found in modern-day Europeans can be traced back to three significant waves of migration. The first migration occurred roughly 19,000 to 14,000 years ago, when hunter-gatherer groups from the Middle East arrived as the glaciers were retreating. Around 9,000 years ago, a second migration occurred, during which farmers from northwestern Anatolia, located in present-day Greece and Turkey, settled in the region. In fact, the German people have no unique genetic origin. They and all other Europeans are the heritage of repeated ancient migrations. So now that the studies and research have been able to prove where the Europeans originated from, it makes it a lot easier to trace their biblical origin. According to the Bible, the human population descended from Noah's family initially spoke a single language and lived together in one place. It means that in the past, everyone, including Africans, Asians, Europeans, and Americans, were interrelated with a common language and most likely had a similar skin color. However, this unified existence contradicted God's instruction to fill the earth. Genesis 9 verse 1 and 11 verse 4. As a consequence, God confused their language, leading to the dispersal of the population into smaller groups that spread across the earth. Genesis 11 verses 8 and 9. Modern genetics supports this account by demonstrating how variations in physical traits can occur in just a few generations following the scattering of a population. Therefore, there is compelling evidence to confirm that the current diversity among human populations arose relatively recently due to the dispersal following the linguistic confusion at the Tower of Babel. However, the Bible provides some clues about the precise ancestors of the Europeans. Who are these forefathers? Is the word Europe mentioned in the Bible? Just keep watching. You'll find out shortly. The answer to this question depends on how one interprets the first 11 chapters of Genesis. Let's start with Japheth, Noah's third son. In Genesis 10 verse 2, Japheth's sons are listed as Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Masak, and Tyrus. Further descendants, that is, Japheth's grandchildren, as mentioned in verses 3 and 4, are Ashkenaz, Rithoth, Togarma, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. Now, if you're an in-depth reader of the Bible, you will notice that these names correspond to the names of some places and regions. It seems indeed that these sons migrated and settled in different parts of the world, and subsequently, cities and regions were named after them. We all know that names hold great significance in the Bible, including the names of territories. Therefore, it is possible that the descendants named their homelands after these patriarchs to honor them. Gomer, for instance, has commonly been associated with the Galatians. Magog, on the other hand, has been linked to the Scythians, who are now known as the modern-day Russians. The Medes, or the Medo-Persians, have also been associated with Madai. Similarly, Javan has been connected to the Ionians or the Greeks. Tubal has been identified as Iberia, referring to the present-day Georgia-Armenia area, or Tubal, a small state located in southeast Turkey. Masak in turn has been associated with the Mosokeni, also located in southeast Turkey. Lastly, Tyrus, the last son of Japheth, has been linked to the Thracians. He is also considered the ancestor of the Italian people due to his relationship with the Etruscans. The Etruscans are one of the peoples that make up the ancestry of the ancient Italians and Romans. While the names of these places have changed translation across languages, you can see the similarities in the names. One of Japheth's grandsons, Tarshish, is named after the well-known region Tarshish. Interestingly, this is the very destination Jonah attempted to flee to in his escape from God. It is widely believed that Tarshish refers to modern-day Spain and that the Portuguese and Spaniards are descendants of Tarshish. Although they have other Japheth ancestries, they are originally considered to be the descendants of Tarshish. The names of other descendants mentioned in the text align with regions located to the north and west of Israel. So it seems that Japheth's descendants went on to found communities and societies in Europe and Central Asia, while Noah's other sons, Shem and Ham, are associated with the Semitic peoples and the African peoples, respectively. So next time you have to fill out a medical questionnaire and indicate your race, you can write Japhet. That should provoke an interesting reaction from someone. And if you're still doubting this truth, there's another interesting fact you'll find in the Holy Bible. Let's go over Genesis 10, verses 2 through 5. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Masak, and Tyrus. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Rithoth, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. Verse 5, which is our point of focus, says, "From these the coastland, peoples of the Gentiles were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language, according to their families, into their nations." Coastlands simply means the upper Mediterranean area of Western Europe. Definitely, each of Japheth's sons founded one or more countries in Europe, each man with his own distinct language. And wait a second, do you know that the name Japheth means enlargement or multiplication? That shouldn't be a mere coincidence either. His name was a specific instruction to fill the earth, as mentioned earlier, according to Genesis 9, verse 1. So next time someone tells you that there's no biblical reference to the Europeans in the sacred scripture, simply smile and get the fellow to watch this video. We find several more references in the sacred scriptures. For instance, the repeated mention of the Greek people and the Macedonian people, who are direct descendants of one of the sons of Japheth, Javan. This fourth son of Japheth is said to be the ancestor of the Greeks. It is worth noting that in classical antiquity, the Israelites themselves referred to the European peoples as Japhets or Javanites, specifically pointing to Greece as the land of the Javanites or simply sons of Javan. These historical connections and lineage described in these ancient texts point to the fact that all origins come from Noah. We could spend hours bringing more stories and biblical identifications about the characters and their origins, but I'll leave it to the next video in the series. In short, from ancient genealogies to Jewish interpretations to the sacred scriptures and other books, they all conclude that the European peoples are direct descendants of Japheth and are all called Japheth peoples. Over to you, viewers. What are your opinions about this subject? Leave your comment below and make sure to subscribe for more biblical mysteries. See you soon.